How's it going, everyone? It's DVal from Fort of Blankets, and I'm here to show you how to be a jerk to your friends. You can do this by making this deck. This deck has monsters with very high attack that you can get out very easily. You don't have to worry about special summoning them or tribute summoning them or anything like that. You just get them in your hand and then just throw them out there. To start off, we have Chainsaw Insect, 2400 attack, very, very nice. However, downside to this is that every single time the card attacks, or it is attacked, your opponent kind of has to draw a card at the end of the damage step, which kind of sucks. But there is a way to get around that, and I'll show you in a little bit. Here you have Gogogo Goram, very good attack. However, every single time he's summoned, you have to put him in defense position, which leaves him vulnerable. And you will notice that with the rest of the monsters in this deck that their defense is 0. So that leaves them to being destroyed by pretty much any monster your opponent can throw at you. Then I run 3 Injection Fairy Lilies. Just pay 2,000 life points and she gains 3,000 attack during the damage calculation, which is really nice. You can pretty much go up against any single monster your opponent could throw at you. And then I run 1 Slate Warrior. I would set him. I wouldn't normal summon him, mostly because when you have him set, that serves as like a bait for your opponent to attack him. And when that happens, your opponent would lose 500 attack in defense. If Slate Warrior survives long enough for you to flip summon him, then he gains 500 attack in defense, putting him at 2400 attack, which is very nice and serves the purpose of this deck. Now, before I go on, I'd just like to say that the rest of these monsters have the same effect, so I won't be going too much into detail with them. Giant Orc. As soon as he attacks, you have to put him in defense position after the battle phase. And you can't put him in attack position until the end of your next turn. That's kind of a drawback, because that leaves him potentially open for your opponent to throw whatever they want at him. That goes the same for Goblin Attack Force, Goblin Elite Attack Force, and Indomitable Fighter. Goblin Elite Attack Force might stand a little bit more of a chance because it has a higher defense than the rest of the monsters, but that might not be the possibility depending on what deck you're going up against. So you may be asking, well, how do I get around that? Well, it's pretty simple. You just negate the effects of your own monsters, and you do that by adding Axe of Fools into the deck. Not only do your monsters gain an extra 1,000 attack, their effects are negated. So, for example, if you were to equip it to, say, Chainsaw Insect, they would gain an extra 1,000 attack, and their effect of your opponent draws 1 card, that's negated. So, you have a really high attack monster that doesn't have to worry about your opponent getting extra cards. That goes the same for the rest of these guys, too. They don't have to be switched into defense position. They could just stay in attack mode with a really, really high attack. So it's pretty hard for them to be destroyed by battle. The drawback of this card is that you lose 500 life points at each of your standby phases. Kind of puts a time limit on the match itself because of this. However, normally with this, you can get the match pretty done and over with before you even have to worry about how low your life points are. Then I run 3 Burden of the Mighty. It just makes it easier for you to attack your opponent's monsters. Lowers their attack pretty significantly. I'd like to mention, because I learned about this and I didn't know about it, this card doesn't apply to XZ monsters, because those technically have ranks. They're not levels. So this could work on Synchro monsters, this can work on Fusion monsters, Ritual monsters, as well as, normal monsters like these, but they don't work on XZ monsters. Then I have the Seal of Orichalcos. This is basically just give my monsters an extra 500 attack. You don't need to worry about special summoning monsters or having an extra deck because, well, as you can see, I don't have an extra deck because I really don't need it, but I'll get to that later. Then I have Final Attack Orders. This just permanently says, hey, every single monster that's on the field right now, stay in attack position. Which is good, because if you don't have Axe of Fools equipped to these guys, they have to be in defense position. But if you have Final Attack Orders out, these guys stay in attack position no matter what. Their effects aren't negated, but this keeps them in attack position. So then you have 0 gravity. This basically is like in the situation where your opponent has a monster in attack position and you have one of your guys that's in defense position because of their effect. You can activate this card to basically switch the battle position of all the monsters on the field. So you could switch these guys immediately into attack position, switching your opponent's monster into defense position, and that saves you from waiting a full turn to get these guys back. For our added defense, I have Dimensional Prison, Skill Drain, and Breakthrough Skill. And then for the side deck, I have 3 Magic Cylinder. If I were to put these in the deck, I would take out Dimensional Prison. Mostly because the rest of these cards are very good and honestly a necessity for this deck. Now, like I said earlier, I don't have an extra deck. Mostly because with this deck, you really don't need one. Because these monsters have a pretty significant attack already. Plus, if you give them an Axe of Fools or Seal of Orichalcos, then they have an extra boosted attack. And then with Burden of the Mighty, your opponent's monsters are weakened. So that just makes it easier to attack them. So I basically just added cards to make your monsters really, really strong and your opponent's monsters very, very weak. And that just about does it for this video. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you have any other deck profiles that you want us to go over. Please let us know. If you have any suggestions for this deck or any other deck, please feel free to comment. And I hope you're having a fantastic day or night or whenever you're watching this.